go ahead and thank you all for joining us today. My name is Yelena Williams, and I am the owner of Skill Builders LLC. And today we are going to be honoring Cybersecurity Awareness Month with the CyberSmart 2025 series. All right. And so again, today is going to be cybersecurity and education. And I have some wonderful guests, some subject matter experts here to talk just about that, to give you some tips, best practices, and things of that nature that you can take and use with you today. All right. And so I'm going to start with, I have to start with Raj. And he's actually, because I'm here in Orlando, Florida. So I'm going to start with some of our Orlando people here. And Raj, go ahead and introduce and your special guest.
Absolutely. Thank you, Elena. So my name is Raj Kapoor. I'm the Executive Director of IT at Orange County Public Schools, OCPS, which is the public school district for the Orlando greater area. I've been there about 5 years and in charge of all different teams, the networking team, identity and access management, data center team, device management, service desk, field support, compliance, auditing. The list goes on and on. I am very, very, very much passionate and an advocate for cybersecurity and for cybersecurity awareness training. Everything we do is based on security. All of our projects are driven by audit recommendations or cybersecurity insurance recommendations, and that's really what drives a lot of our projects. I just want to add, I am the biggest Tupac fan, so I have my doll here, and I am originally from New York City, so I have my New York City subway. So I'm very honored to be here, so thank you so much.
Raj, thank you so much. And so now we're going to go ahead and introduce Kahana. Kahana, go ahead, tell us about yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kahana Sams. I am a federal employee. I work for Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and I am an information system security manager at the Bureau. I have been in information technology for about 25 years, and with a focus on cybersecurity for the last 16 years. And I've been with the Bureau for about 5 years. In my role, I primarily focus on compliance of information systems and compliance of people and processes. And I'm so happy to be here today, and I'm so appreciative of the invite. And I'm looking forward to being part of this panel and being part of this session. So thank you.
Kahana, thank you so much for being here today. We're excited. And we have another person that I want to introduce, and I actually just recently met and got connected with this panelist, and his name is Chad Richlewski. And Chad, I'm sorry, I know you were supposed to introduce everybody today. However, we're just kind of going with the flow today. So, but if you can, please tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we can go on to our last presenter.
Sure. And nailed the last name, I have to say, for someone I've known for such short time, nailed the Richlewski. I appreciate that. So Chad Richlewski, about 16 years of experience in security, cybersecurity, started my career in IT audit. I now work with public service clients, primarily in the Northeast and the South of America. That's my day job. At night, I spun up a little side project to write a book called CyberSmart Parenting. So it's under the brand Cybersecurity Parents. I'll put in the link to our LinkedIn page and the website here in a second. But that book is made for parents of K through 12 children. It's made to understand cybersecurity at a practical, tactical level, gives you tips and tricks on how to implement cybersecurity for someone who doesn't have a background in security, someone who doesn't really understand computers. This book will make a lot of sense. It's only 85 pages. You can read it in an hour if you're a speed reader, but there's even a tech contract in there that you can rip out and fill out with your children, so this conversation becomes more of an agreement, less of rulemaking. There's a lot of other resources out on cybersecurityparents.com, but I do hope that you all get to check it out. And the book is on special this month because Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So it's $9.99 for the month of October out on Amazon. Happy to be here. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you so much, Chad. I appreciate you. And last but certainly not least is another person that I was able to connect with.
I think we just lost Elena. So we're going to, Brian, I want to ask you to take a moment
Yeah, not a
and
problem.
go ahead and introduce yourself.
That's fine. Yeah, Brian McCarthy. I've been in corporate training and development for 3 decades. I taught Workstation Server 351 and to kind of date myself. So I started as a trainer. They found that I could talk to people, made me a sales engineer, got into sales, got into marketing, and then I did 500 other things since then. But my entire career, whether it's been in technology, pharmaceutical product launch, GMP, GXP, and now, of course, full-time cybersecurity for 15 years. Of that, it's always been about workforce development. So I've, as a trainer, at least gained some good insights of what happens in the classroom when the eyes start to wander, what to do to bring people back. So 327 is all about creating training engagements that help develop, basically demonstrate competencies and or certifications as an example. I'm also a co-founder in an organization that does global cybersecurity risk governance. So we're working on like NIST2 and DORA, some of these like overseas regulatory stacks. But for multinational companies, very, very important because there's civil and criminal liability now creeping into the cyber domains, which is relatively new. I'm not sure if we got Ilana back.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. All right.
Yes,
That's awesome.
everyone has introduced themselves already while you took a momentary intermission.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Again, as you can see, we have a panel of highly skilled people here today, and we wanted to be able to take the time to be able to ask you some questions. All right. And one of the questions that I wanted to talk about in terms of the different schools and some of the threats that schools are facing today. And I want to see if that's something that Raj, can you take the lead on that?
Certainly. So when you work in a public school system such as ours, where you start from kindergarten up to 12th grade, not only do we have external cyber factors, with people trying to hack us and infiltrate us, we also have internal factors. Our students are very, very smart, and they are taking cybersecurity classes. They are taking ethical hacking classes, and we do have cyber breaches coming from the inside as well. Sometimes, we do have challenges where we can't really train and provide that cybersecurity awareness to our folks, at the speed that we want to, because things are constantly changing. And sometimes, with that awareness training, we have to get board approval, and that may take a little while and things like that. But also we have funding and resource challenges as well. So it's hard to keep up with both external and internal factors. As well as our older legacy systems. Public school districts normally don't have a lot of money to upgrade their systems, and so we have to constantly help segregate and segment off those older systems so that they can't be accessed from the regular networks and things like that.
Awesome. Thank you. And also, I wanted to put out there too, if you are in the session today and you have any questions, please don't hesitate to post your questions in the chat, and we'll try to make sure to get them answered as soon as possible. All right. Well, thank you, because I know with the schools and teams and things of that nature, a lot of them are facing a lot of different cybersecurity threats, and they're trying to figure out how to handle these. Can you tell me some any cyber threats that they know of for like social media, different types of social media threats that could be facing our younger students, or even just our like career and technical education?
I'm sorry, is that question still for me, or is that for the other panelists? I guess
Actually, anyone can jump in on this one if anybody has any thoughts on that.
I could take a whack at that. Looking at the question, what are some of the biggest risks facing K through 12 students and educators? Now, segmenting anything like phishing or social media data privacy, all of that into one domain, I don't think is really fair because it's all of it. as we become more ICT dependent and we are working really in integrated technology. We see that if one service goes down in the cloud, we can lose an entire business for the course of a week or more. I think that it's really taking a look at phishing and social media data privacy, other aspects of cyber, and how I would say maybe threat actors are looking at or really deciphering how to approach that type of data. Because you can lose everything on social media. It doesn't mean that you're going to get phished, but your mom might get phished. You might give away your first last name, and then someone might find out through a data privacy leak your address. Well, guess what? Now I have a profile. So as data and content software has grown up, also has the adversaries that are looking at this type of information. I think we have to be aware of it all.
I'll dip into Brian's comment because I just posted about this today, actually. I think it's really important to teach kids what is good to put on the internet and what is not, because like an accounting ledger, it lives there forever. And in my post, I actually talked about how I'm going to age myself here. When I was in college, Facebook was released to .edus, and we learned as 18, 19, 20-year-olds how to use these tools, semi-adults. There's some learning curve there, but we kind of knew what we were doing. These children have access to these platforms, and they're putting information out there like their first, last names, student ID, other sensitive information that bad actors can then use to build that profile that Brian was talking about and do reputable damage to them over the career of the K through 12 system.
Yeah. And, I think further extending that is that, cybersecurity changes daily. Even if children are, or even educators are educated about, what is the best practice today, quite literally, we're going to wake up tomorrow and there might be something different. So it's kind of a continuous evolution of the knowledge, skills, and abilities that one has to not just know, but also be able to demonstrate. Unfortunately, that's kind of a strong statement, but these are things that we can certainly educate and teach, but that even gets further down into, how do you, foster curiosity? How do you get a kid to this cybersecurity thing sounds cool. How do you make it sound cool? Oh, I can compete with my friends. How can I win? Right. And it's gamification and, just tapping into the natural curiosity of children in a constructed manner, right? There has to be some governance and oversight of what are we trying to teach people. But again, if you're phished, it's a horrible time. If you're phished and you put a whole bunch of stuff out on social media, it's a worse time. If all your data's leaked, it's horrible. So these things just scaffold up, and once it's out there, it's really hard to reel it back in. It's kind of like the internet's forever, especially in social media. And that's, we've seen a lot of examples of, folks saying things that maybe they didn't truly believe at the time, but it's an emotional response, it's a passionate response, and that makes sense. So it's a little bit of a culture initiative that I think that I think overall business education might be overlooking, but I think that's an opportunity.
This is Crystal Carter. I'm one of the sponsors for this event, and also working with Yelena behind the scenes. One of the things I find as a parent is, and this is where I tell parents, your children have no privacy, because the only way you can help them is to be in their business and is to be aware. So this is where you have to educate your children about what happens on the web. Things you put up on the web don't always go away, and can and sometimes it's a record for life. So when you're educating our children about how to use, like we teach them how to use a stove responsibly or to drive a car responsibly when they get old enough, you also have to teach them how to use the internet responsibly. And most parents thinking, oh, it's the internet. There's software that you can put on your children's computer, on their phone, that lets you need to mind their business. And when you need to mind their business, meaning that you need to be able to see what are they looking at, what sites are they going to. And when I put this software on all of my son's devices, he's not getting away with anything. And if I see him somewhere way too much, I'm looking into it to see what are you doing and why are you here so often. So there is no such thing as privacy. If you notice on your screen, you may also see Jeopardy come up. And we have been able to bring up, Yelena has decided to implement the Jeopardy game to ask our panelists questions in very unique ways. So I'm going to let her explain that, and I'm going to mute myself.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of your help. And while we're going through some of these technical issues, but we have this Jeopardy game and we have a few different categories, right? And so what I want to do is allow each of the panelists, we're going to go one by one, and you get to select a category, and then you can select a point value. All right. And so and as each one selects it, you'll be able to earn more points. And so hopefully we'll be able to see who earns the most points in CyberSmart. So let's see here. I know we just started, Brian, you just, let's start with Kahana. You want to select a category?
Was that for me? I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing.
There we go. For Kahana.
Oh, there we go.
Kahana, you're on mute, honey.
Kahana, you need to unmute.
Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm
Okay.
sorry. Let's do practical safety tips and awareness. Practical safety and awareness tips for 100.
Okay.
All right. You click it again or use the space bar. And it's going to reveal the question. There we go. All right. So, Kahana, if every teacher, student, and parent could remember just one cybersecurity habit, what should it be?
Definitely trust but verify. Trust but verify. When you're receiving a email or a message that has a link in it, you want to trust and you want to trust, but you want to verify where that message came from, who's the originator, and what happens when I click on this link. A lot of times our students and teachers are unaware that you are the first line of defense when it comes to cybersecurity. And clicking on a link from a potential hacker or someone with some kind of malicious intentions could open the front door. It's essentially opening the front door and allowing everyone in. So my best advice would be, if you receive a link in an email, look at the email address. Does it say Mrs. Martin from OC Public Schools? Or does it say Mrs. Martin at gmail.com? Because those two are very big distinctions on where that came from. You want to make sure that it's inside of your domain that's attached to your email address and not some outsider. So you always want to definitely trust but verify before you click on anything and any messages.
All right. Thank you, Kahana. So I think you just earned yourself 100 points.
Okay.
All right. So let's see here. All right. So once we go back to the board, you got to press the ESC button. All right. There we go. All right. So Brian, since you spoke up just a moment ago, why don't you go ahead and go next?
Thank you very much. I've always wanted to be on Jeopardy, so this is a life event for me. This is great. You know, I'm looking at all these things; they all matter. But I'll say building a cyber workforce. Do I have to go to 100, or can I go right to 500?
Okay.
You can.
I forget how the game's
big
played,
bucks.
but let's go big. Let's go building a cyber workforce for 500.
Brian, the high roller, yes.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. This is my one shot.
All right. So for this question, many adults are exploring cybersecurity as a second career, those career changers, and they're coming from backgrounds in either education or business or even healthcare. What advice would you give to someone that is making that transition, and which skills transfer the best? All right. It's what realistic first steps and what should they do to break into this field?
Yeah. It's a really interesting question because cybersecurity is just not technology. Cybersecurity is business, it's communications, it's kind of everything. So if you have a business background, could be a sales background, you know, do those skills transfer directly into a cyber analyst role? Not necessarily, but what I tell everyone, and I've talked to a lot of folks that are going through this, how do I get into the industry? That's a very big question. We see that on LinkedIn a lot. Number one, don't discount anything that you have already done, because experience matters. And I don't care what you could have been a server. That's customer service. That's delivery, right? Every single thing that you've done, I say, counts for something. And that should be part of your conversation, because guess what? You're going to have to sell yourself as well. So above and beyond maybe getting some training, getting a certification or two, exploring different types of apprenticeship programs that might be available by organizations, very large organizations, Accenture, Amazon, Microsoft. They have amazing intake programs. They also have programs that will help somebody who is not in cyber internally in the organization transition to cyber. Amazon's getting the majority of their cybersecurity workforce internally. And that's by tapping into what's considered the the non-cyber worker. As somebody who has the aptitude and the interest, most importantly, the interest. If you're interested in it, you can learn it. And if you can learn it, guess what? You're going to be able to do it. But there has to be steps. I think apprenticeship programs are very, very important. And I also know that there is a lot of information on the internet right now that's free. And that's a kind of a loose word to use because free normally doesn't mean a whole lot, but Microsoft has done an amazing job. Google in particular, I always say, and I think that's run by Coursera, which is a very well-known organization, an ed tech platform. You can get a PMP certification, a cyber analyst certification. There's a lot of different domains of interest on Coursera. They're free. And if it's free, guess what? That's your first step because now it's recognizable by HR. If you're looking to go the extra mile, something that maybe is a little broader, something like CompTIA Security Plus. And the reason I say that is it's not just because of the content, but it's generally accepted as a certification that proves a certain level of aptitude or knowledge. Most importantly, it's also part of the Department of Defense's cybersecurity, it's a DCWF, Department of Defense Cybersecurity Workforce Framework, meaning if you have that certification, you might even be able to get a job in a defense type of contract. So you'll even be more attractive to a potential employer. And I could go on, but in general, everything that you have done does matter. I think applying that as part of your pitch or part of your resume is important. You do have to get some skills. You do have to think about red team, blue team. How do I get a certification? And then look at organizations that are really dying for good talent. You might find yourself an apprenticeship program that'll bring right in the door.
Oh, thank you, Brian. I think that was really good. Again, highlighting the fact that your background matters. What you have, it still matters. So don't discount that. Did anybody else have anything to add to that before we move on?
Brian, that was wonderful. I also do want to just drop this little piece of nugget in the chat. Our Orange Technical Colleges, which are vocational technical schools here, they are for students and adult learners. You can sign up for a Cybersecurity Security Plus program for $27. It's a hands-on training. It takes a couple of months, but that's only that you pay a registration fee. So there are technical colleges in every community that you can look into. This is just the one for Orlando, and go ahead and try out these programs.
Yeah. Does that fund the certification or is that an out-of-pocket expense?
That is just the processing fee. So the course, the teaching.
You can take the training for free.
You can take the training for free and you get a free voucher to take the test.
Yep.
Wow.
You can't beat that. Yes.
Yeah. No, you can't beat that at all. It's great. And that's another example of, potentially private, public, nonprofit partnerships or consortiums coming together to solve this problem because it's not a business issue. It's not an education issue. It's not it's an everybody issue. And we have to kind of reach across the aisle a little bit, get rid of the gumption or get rid of our ego a bit and just figure out how to make it work. That's a great program. I appreciate you sharing that.
All right. So I hope all of my people that are here in Orlando, if you are interested, please make sure you check that out. Post something in the chat so we can make sure to get that information out to you. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Just briefly, if you have questions or comments about what you're hearing today, please make sure you put them in the chat so that if we have questions, we can make sure we get them addressed. Sorry.
Oh, thank you so much. All right. So Brian just answered the last question. So he just got 500 points. He is in the lead. All right, Raj. You got a cleaner now.
Competition's going to get people going.
Okay.
All right, Raj, it's your turn to select a category.
Oh, wonderful. Let's go cybersecurity in classroom for 500. Let's do this.
Here we go.
Okay. All right. You got competition, Brian.
I love it. I love it. And this is just what Brian said. Gamifying and creating contests where you can, provide recognition and awards to people. Now, this is students, employees, everybody can help. So you create some type of gamified contest. It could be a weekly, questionnaire or something. But I love this idea, and I think that it works especially well in classroom situations. Especially, I mean, who doesn't want to, who's not competitive, who doesn't want to win something? And I think that they are learning as well as competing, and it's a healthy competition. So they definitely drive engagement, and I would 100% support gamifying cybersecurity learning.
Awesome. I want to kind of talk about that a little bit more. Has anyone on the panel seen some different types of gamification or interactive learning tools that they've seen be effective in the classroom?
I'll take this one if you don't mind. Code.org is a good place to start. So I do Hour of Code every year with my broader organization, and it's always gamified. So 2 years ago it was Redfish, Bluefish, right? Like teaching a large language model or a Gen AI tool or an AI tool how to read certain pictures. Those different games are things that are free. Kids can do at home after we teach them how to do it in the classroom. And I think it helps them explore more on their free time. It's a great tool.
And just to add to that too as well, one of the tools that I know that some of the students that I've seen using is Quizlet. Quizlet is a great resource, and it's also, I think it's free, at least part of it is free. And they have a section on there where, depending on what you're studying, somebody's probably went in there already and created some kind of game or interactive learning tool where you're just not reading and it's very interactive and user fun.
Wonderful. And I just met with a vendor this past 2 days, I believe, cybernut.com. I'm putting that in the chat. They are especially focused on K-12 public school districts on cybersecurity awareness and gamification of those learning tools.
All right. See, that's awesome. All right. So hopefully you guys are jotting that down. That's some things that you can implement for our educators that are in the training today, and make sure you could take note, because those are some things you can implement in your classroom. All right, awesome. So now we're back to the board, okay? And it seems like we have a tie between Raj. Oh my goodness, Raj, he have 500 points. Kahana, you have 100 points. And Brian, you have 500 points. So we're gonna go back to Kahana. Kahana, go ahead and select your category.
Okay, we're going to do a slow and steady. Let's do why cybersecurity education matters for 100.
All right. Slow and steady wins the race is what they say. And so from your perspective, why is it so critical that schools and communities make cyber awareness part of everyday learning?
Because I do think that cybersecurity is, it's modern day life skills at this point. All of our devices are connected to the internet, whether that's your telephone, your cell phone, your tablet, your refrigerator, your lights, and all of these different entities that we're now able to connect. And so they all need to be protected. And I think that because they're so integrated within our everyday life, these are the skills that you need in order to be able to keep yourself safe, your family safe, your data safe, your person safe. Some of these entities or devices that we have now, they do have location services that are integrated into them. And so you want to make sure, it's important for you to know if your Nest is, giving people is pinging your location, so to keep yourself safe. So modern day life skills these days.
Well, that's awesome. Actually, I just saw something come in the chat as well, and anyone can take this question. There's no points associated with it. But for homeschool students, are there some resources for homeschool students to help keep them cyber safe? I know with Orange County Public Schools, we have, not only homeschool students, but we have our Orange County virtual school and things of that nature. What are some resources to help keep our those students cyber safe?
I believe Cyber.org, which is part of CISA, Center for Information Security Association, I believe. They have something especially for homeschool students, and I'm dropping this in the chat now. It's cyber.org. So I hopefully that can help here. And all right. Oh, my copy paste doesn't work, but okay, there we go.
All right, we're going to make sure to capture all of these resources and send those out as well. So if you missed something or you weren't able to capture it from the chat, don't worry. We're going to make sure that you receive all of the resources. We're going to post them up on our website as well. All right, awesome. Thank you so much for that. All right, so Kahana, you have now 200 points. All right, and Brian, it is now your turn to select a category.
It's getting very competitive. I can feel my blood pressure going up.
What's your blood pressure to go up?
Yeah, let's see here. So in the classroom, let's go with equity, access, and representation in cyber education. Let's go for 500. Let's see what happens here.
All right.
Hopefully, I can pull it off.
We're crossing our fingers for you. All right. So representation matters. What can each of us do as leaders, parents, or community members to open doors for women, minorities, and students in underserved schools to see themselves in cyber careers?
Phenomenal question, and it's a long answer. I'm going to try to peel my mind down here, but to have representation, I think sometimes community activation is one of the key things that can help drive that, because it's hard to tell a kid to do something. It's hard to tell an adult to do something with their kid or to learn something from school to home. But if it's something that's organic and their friends are doing it, and it's at the bingo night, we just happen to talk about cybersecurity for 5 minutes before you start rolling the balls or something like that. That's an integration. It's an opportunity to get an idea in front of somebody, and you don't put up these walls per se. I'm lucky enough to have volunteered on the NIST committee for the 800-181 publication. It's the National Initiative for Cybersecurity Education. In particular, my subcommittee was the DEIA area, and that area is underserved still, but nonetheless, I think there's great work being done. I did happen to run into a couple nonprofit organizations in my travels, one being, and I could recommend them absolutely at the highest level of professionalism. It's called NPower. And npower.org is an organization that can help people of color basically access free cybersecurity education and apprenticeships, which are funded by major banks, funded by major insurers, funded by major cloud providers, and that helps them also meet their DEIA commitments. NPower has educated, trained, certified, and gotten people into their first job starting at $75,000 as a cyber analyst. Things that would never have been accessible in the world in which certain people grow up in. But little by little, we're chipping away at that. And I think, again, it goes back to community. It goes back to the education system, goes back to what's happening at home, and also goes back to what nonprofits are doing. So I'm also a fan of grants, taking a look at what might be available through the National Cyber Foundation as an example. They have a couple programs like the STEM K-12 program, which is specific to the K through 12 system. And they're looking for great ideas. And, these great ideas have to answer across the aisle. Again, I always say we have to get rid of our silos. And we have to really figure out, how do we get everybody into cybersecurity? Because it's not just anybody DEIA. It's not anybody who looks like me. It's literally everybody. It's somebody with a business background. It's somebody with a server background. It's, if you have the aptitude and interest, there should be the accessibility and the tools to get you to that goal. I wish we had more, but I've seen tremendous changes in the last 3 years.
Hey, Elena, this is Crystal. I'm going to chime in on this question. What we also need to do is let kids see people that look like them doing these jobs. One of the big things, I'm a member of an organization here in DC called Top Ladies of Distinction. And what we do is we also participate in career fairs at schools. So if you are in this field and you participate in a career fair at the school, kids get an opportunity to see somebody, not necessarily mom and dad, because of my IT background, my son is paying me no mind. But when kids see people that look like them doing things that might be interesting in a setting that's of their own. So when you're in school, you're on their ground, on their turf. This is a great opportunity to have have them see people that look like them doing certain jobs where they can ask those questions and be curious about what these people do. So I encourage you, if you're in this career field, participate in the career fair as a way of helping to bring people to the others, to bring kids over into it to learn more about it, because as they see you in the career fields, if they're not exposed to it, they may not know about it. So that becomes another avenue for this. So that's just my 2 cents. I'm going to go back to being Vanna.
No, that's an amazing point. Basically, professional modeling. We would use that in pharmaceutical, sales training. But to see the person whose shoes you want to be in, that's going to open a door. That's going to create the curiosity, the drive. Let me learn about this. Hey, if they did it, I can. Right? And that's a great point.
100%. Yes.
I also, I'm sorry, I posted the link to NPower. Anybody who wants to take a look at that, phenomenal organization.
We'll make sure that we include the links and everything that's been shared in the additional information. It'll be posted to the site by the end of the week at the latest for this webinar. So if you didn't keep up with everything that they're talking about in all of the different sites, don't worry about it. We will have it in the recording and in the additional information that will be attached on the CyberSmart website.
Awesome. All right, that's some great information, and that's one of the reasons why this CyberSmart even developed, is we wanted to make sure that we're spreading the message, making people aware of, what's out there, what is available for them, things that they might not even know to ask for, or that's different resources that they may have access to. So that was an awesome question. And let's see here. So Kahana, you just went, hold on. We got 1,000 points. So now the third person is Brian. Was it Brian?
Brian just went. So
he's at the
lead.
No, you just went. So Raj.
Raj.
There we go.
All right. Let's see. Let's say building a cyber workforce for $300.
$300 or 300 points?
You're right. 300 points.
All right. Right, there we go. So can you share, and actually for everybody, but if you can share how your career path led you into cybersecurity and what surprised you most about working in this field?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. I started my career 25 years ago in a phone help desk, providing technical support to other customers of the vendor that I worked with, then got into desktop support, then systems engineering, data center kind of infrastructure. And I believe, as my career developed, cybersecurity also developed. So in each part, I would see a little piece of cybersecurity. Okay, we need to install an endpoint and detection antivirus program on our computers. Okay, that was 25 years ago. And then this and that. And then, okay, how are we protecting our servers and our network? Are we installing firewalls with intrusion protection and intrusion detection systems? And I think that it has evolved so much that every IT department, every person within those different groups in IT have something to do with cybersecurity. It is not just a cybersecurity team. Cybersecurity, like I said, is the basis of most of the stuff I do with infrastructure. I think that what has surprised it is really how cybersecurity is like an octopus and has found its way into everything. And so, keeping up with the trends, understanding how it affects you, your systems, and your end users, being able to, translate that into the end user, letting them know why we are doing things, how it's going to protect you, and what you should do to protect yourself, I think is kind of, where we're going with everything. I'm also very surprised about the amount of IT auditing that we have in cybersecurity. I spend more time in audit meetings than I do in just trying to plan our projects. So that has become a very, very big, but you learn from the audits. These auditors, they have best practice knowledge, all the compliance frameworks. They've done this before, and you're able to take those recommendations and put them in place.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, so I'm going to ask now, Kahana, can you answer this question as well?
So yeah, much like Raj, my journey started very similar. I worked for a telephone company. And I started out doing help desk, and then I migrated over to working with business customers, managing T2 line, T1 lines, data connect, point to point, private to private. Was it private connect? I don't even remember what those lines are anymore. But that was way back in right. That was way back in 2000. And so from there, I basically just kept rediscovering different parts of information technology. So from there, I went straight into DoD, and I worked at DISA for a very long time, and for the Army National Guard. And I was doing desktop support, I was doing system administration, and then somebody asked me to scan the network for vulnerabilities. And Lord, did that open up a whole new world for me. And I started to know where the vulnerabilities sat on the network and how are we going to patch these, and, working at night, patching systems at night, doing system outages. And then from there, I went directly into compliance and working a lot with managing ATOs and working with auditors. Like, that's a big part. It's audit season right now. So that's a big part of compliance, is a very big part of cybersecurity. If you are not a person who enjoys being very technical or doing the day-to-day operations, compliance is probably a place where you would want to be, to make sure that you're doing that trust and verify, doing your due diligence to make sure that the systems on your network are secure and they are authorized and they are compliant with all the organizational standards, all of the federal standards, all the industry standards. That might be a way for you to go. That was definitely my path. So Raj, hey, my tech brother here.
I like it.
Awesome. I'm gonna pass the mic over to Brian.
Yeah, I kind of grew up in the industry. I was lucky that I grew up in a training company. My parents founded, I think it was one of the first privately licensed schools in the state of PA for tech training. Became one of the Microsoft's first. It used to be called an A-Tech. And this is when Windows, 3.1 was hot, and like Corel version 2, I'm sorry, Word Perfect, what's it called? I don't remember. But these desktop applications that started taking the world over, that organization got built up through the .com boom, got sold to Judge. I hopped over to working with IBM middleware components. So I went from the training center. I was the guy that I would drag the Cat5 cabling and then teach a class. And then I was up front answering phones. So just running, the crazy entrepreneur, running all over. Worked with an IBM team doing a lot of middleware components for transport and banking. That's where I really got into custom content development, assessment, methodology, and really understanding what do you currently know, what do you need to know, and how do we get you there. Then let's architect a training solution where we can instill competencies and then demonstrate that, because why train if we can't? And up and through pharmaceutical product launch, clean manufacturing in the pharmaceutical fields. But literally last 15 years of my life has been cybersecurity, workforce compliance, training DoD. I've become a Linux Institute trainer. I've written programs for them. So I'm like an instructional designer, a trainer, e-learning developer, and I don't even know what I am. So I do a lot of things. I just say I'm a generalist when it comes to workforce improvement, but have a lot of experience, and that's kind of that's how I got where I am. I didn't wake up one day and say, hey, I want to be a technologist. It just kind of happened. Most people who are project managers don't wake up and say, man, I can't wait to be a project manager when I grow up. You just find yourself there, and then they give you the role. I'll get a certification, and you're off to the races. And
that's right.
Just being sometimes the right place at the right time. I would say, if it's anything, just make sure you're there. Just make sure you're trying and you're there as much as you can, because that opportunity will find you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that. I see here we still have actually, we only have 4 minutes. I know we started a little bit late, but I wanted to take a moment just to see if there was any questions in the audience. I know we only have 4 minutes left. If there are any questions in the audience.
If you're in the audience and you have a question that you haven't typed in the chat, if you raise your hand, I will give you a chance, because we're short on time, to unmute, and you can ask your question. I put in the chat that I was known as a cable dog. They called, because that was a dirty job, pulling those cables through the building, crawling in spaces you didn't want to be in. So
If you haven't cut Cat 5 with your fingernails, you haven't lived.
yeah, you
know, I don't know what else
you
to
knew how to
say.
chew.
That part.
You knew how to chew on that end just right to make it happen the
You
way
gotta
you
chew
wanted
on
it
it
to.
just right.
Like I just don't have it. I just bite it out. You can pull the cover off. You know how to grab it, pull that cover off, and keep moving.
The punch
and,
downs never work anyway. You know, it's just
yeah,
off with a pen.
it's like who needs this? What equipment? Why do you need that for? Just go ahead and do that. So I'm with you all. My background is in IT training, and I ended up being a project manager, and that's what I'm known for now, which is hilarious. But this really started because I was a bad secretary. I was awful at it. And I was sitting there building access databases before recruiting agencies even had access databases to help. I was building them databases to store their stuff in. So I totally can connect with what you guys are saying, but you start in there and then you find your way. And because I knew Word very well and WordPerfect, which I don't even think it's even around anymore, that was how I got my first job on a Microsoft Word help desk, was because I knew their applications better than anybody else interviewing. So the guy just said, go learn the background stuff.
Right.
So it's like, you got to start somewhere. And then I ended up being a trainer because they were talking really technical and very fancy. And people were like, what did he say? So because I could translate techies, which is a skill, translating techies to English is a skill.
Right.
So, you just have to in the right place.
Well, that's it's funny because that's how I met Crystal as one of the trainers, and but one of the things that I boast about is from Orange County Public Schools. I was a teacher there for several years with Orange County Public Schools, and when I moved to Maryland, the Virginia area, the DMV area, I took everything I learned as a teacher and I started working on a help desk and doing more training, creating documentation and things of that nature, being able to talk with, like Crystal said, with the different technicians and things of that nature, and taking that and then turning it into trainings and being able to facilitate those trainings. So I am really grateful for, all of the things that I've learned working at Orange County Public Schools. So that shout out to OCPS. And let's see here.
And we had a unique training team because we were a training team that was tied to tech support. So our situation was, you're the trainers, but if there are issues where people needed more help one-on-one, or there's issues the techs can't resolve, we were that next level of support beyond level 3 to go, okay, let's figure out why this is not working. So we were one of the few training teams that was actually connected to a desktop support team. So that was a little bit different, but yes, we met at work, and then I got adopted into the family. So she ain't getting rid of me no time soon. But I haven't seen anybody raise their hand, and I don't see any questions in the chat or in Q&A. I
believe I saw one hand raised just now. I do apologize. I do have to drop off. I have a board meeting I have to attend right now. Okay. But thank you so much. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.